The Gaza Strip is once again a battleground. The long-standing conflict between Israel and Hamas has erupted with a ferocity not seen in years. The current conflict began on start date of conflict, and the death toll continues to rise. Thousands are displaced from their homes. The international community watches with bated breath, hoping for a swift resolution. Hamas launched a surprise attack into Israel, catching many off guard. Their fighters infiltrated Israeli communities, taking hostages and sowing chaos. The images and videos shocked the world. Israel responded swiftly with a counteroffensive, targeting Hamas positions within Gaza. The situation in Gaza is dire. Hospitals are overwhelmed with casualties. Civilians are trapped in the crossfire. Humanitarian aid is struggling to reach those in need. The world watches with growing concern as the violence escalates. The conflict has reignited long-standing tensions in the region. It has also underscored the challenges of finding a lasting peace between Israel and the Palestinians. The path forward remains unclear, but one thing is certain: the human cost of this conflict is already immeasurable. Hamas's tactics have been met with international condemnation. Their use of human shields violates international law. Taking hostages, including women and children, has inflamed tensions. Hamas claims these actions respond to Israeli oppression. Hostages are now bargaining chips in a deadly game. Hamas demands the release of Palestinian prisoners. They have threatened to execute hostages if demands are not met. The world waits anxiously, hoping for their safe return. International efforts to broker a ceasefire have so far been unsuccessful. The United Nations has called for an immediate cessation of hostilities. World leaders have urged both sides to show restraint. Yet, the rockets continue to fly, and the bombs continue to fall. Negotiations are further complicated by the deep mistrust between the two sides. Israel views Hamas as a terrorist organization and refuses to negotiate with them directly. Hamas, in turn, sees Israel as an occupying force and refuses to disarm. Meanwhile, the Israeli military continues its operations in Gaza. They claim to be targeting Hamas military infrastructure while minimizing civilian casualties. However, the reality on the ground is far more complicated. The densely populated nature of Gaza makes it nearly impossible to avoid civilian casualties altogether. The conflict has also spread to the West Bank, where Israeli forces have clashed with Palestinian protesters. The situation is volatile and could easily escalate further. The world watches with growing concern as the violence shows no signs of abating. Global condemnation and support. The international community is deeply divided on the Gaza war. Many countries condemn Hamas's attacks and support Israel's right to defend itself. The United States is a staunch ally of Israel. There is growing criticism of Israel's use of force in Gaza. Human rights groups accuse Israel of causing unnecessary civilian casualties. Some countries call for an independent investigation into potential war crimes. The Gaza war is a stark reminder of the complexities of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. The moral and economic costs of war. The Gaza War is a conflict of conscience. The human cost is etched on grieving families, the wounded and orphaned children. Economically, both sides suffer. Israel's tourism industry is hit hard. Gaza faces dire poverty and unemployment. With destroyed infrastructure and shuttered businesses, the true cost is in shattered lives and lost potential.